So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter of Verbal Herb, and it is Wealth Wednesday on the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. And so on Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, who has worked with a whole host of people, from celebrities, athletes, and just everyday people, to help us achieve financial freedom. And so, of course, we're going to weave that into the conversation. This is a very delicate conversation, I would say, for a whole host of reasons. One, someone lost their life, and from what it sounds like, it was senseless. And so I just want to start off with saying this will not be a gossip session. It won't be a speculation session, because, you know, since it happened early yesterday morning, you've had so many people with all these theories of what happened, and oh, you know, it's because of this, it's because of that. And really, the only people that know what happened are the people who are directly involved. And unfortunately, one of those people are not here. So, of course, we're going to get into that. And like I said, big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. The other side of the conversation, you all are not just viewers, but you are participants, because we do read your questions, comments, and concerns. So we'll be here for about 2 hours. Right off the top, we have ways of donating to the channel. If you want to help, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, you can become a member, like the video at the very least, subscribe, and everything else in between. Everything we do appreciate. So, Walter, before we get started, what say you?
Let me mute myself first. So I haven't seen the video. I had a few people tell me about it, everything that happened. It was unfortunate. So let's just get into it.
Absolutely. And I will say, I have not seen the video. I do not want to see the video, and I will not be showing you all the video. It's very graphic from what I understand, and really out of the respect for the family. It's like, why would anybody want to show that? But I get it. I'm a content creator, and a lot of times people try to get the clicks, the likes, and the views, and I want to be the first one to show such a horrific thing. And I think we should be respectful of those involved. I mean, it's awful, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I actually want to start with putting this up from his record label of Quality Control. And they say, it is with broken hearts and deep sadness that we mourn the loss of our beloved brother, Kershnik Kari Ball, known to the world as Takeoff. Senseless violence and a stray bullet has taken another life from this world, and we are devastated. Please respect his family and friends as we all continue to process this monumental loss. And of course, there's his name and his date of birth and the day that he transitioned. Sounds like he was 28 years old. So again, this comes from his record label now. So I should also say, let's see who's on here before I get started. Moni, what's going on? Black Empowerment 01, how you doing? Thunder, what's going on? LB Tatum, what's going on? Beverly, how you doing? And Thunder says, will life insurance cover homicide? Yes, it will, especially, it will, depending on, you know, what happened. If the person wasn't that pulled the trigger was not on the policy and things like that, it should be covered, yes. And if it was out of contestability mode and all that. Who else? We have Cosmo. Craig, what's going on with you? Pioneer, how you doing? Monet. And Kimmy, what's going on? Curtis. And let's see here. And Cosmo, you say, we're the only people who make murder music. Sounds like for the most part, very unfortunate. So anyway, what happened was on early Tuesday morning, so really the day after Halloween, which was November 1st, I had a bowling alley in Houston called 810 Billiards and Bowling. Sounds like it was a private party hosted by that of Jay Prince Jr. And I guess his father owns a record label out here, Rap-A-Lot Records. And so he was hosting the event. From what I understand, 40 people were there. And it sounds like they were shooting a game of dice, a dice game. Now, a whole lot of stories have come out about what happened, who did what, this, that, and the other. Doesn't really sound like anybody has the same story. But everybody, for the most part, from what I heard, said that Takeoff, the one that was unfortunately taken from this world, it said that he was just really sitting there kind of in the cut, minding his own business, keeping to himself. And when the melee happened, sounds like he stood up and it was a straight bullet that hit him. So most people who know him said that he was very quiet, non-violent, very loving. Didn't sound like he made murder music, as some people would say. Of course, you guys know that he was one part of the very popular rap group, the Migos, with that of Quavo and Offset. Quavo is actually his uncle, and I believe he's Offset's uncle as well, even though they're around the same age. So they were all related. So the hip hop world, if you will, and a lot of the people are taking it hard. I also want to say this too, because a lot of times, people say, well, people, everyday people are getting, killed, people who are not famous, and that is absolutely true. So I don't want to make this about just because it's Takeoff, somebody famous, that we should be discussing this, but because it is in the news, and I think it's a good segue for us to talk about basically how do we avoid it if it was avoidable and all of that. I have my theory on it, but as I said, I don't want to go with the speculation. I don't want to dog him or anybody else like that. I want to kind of keep this respectful, because I do believe in respecting people who are not here. So I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on. But Walter, you said you actually had a conversation with somebody about it. And let me see who else is on here before I get to you. Michael, what's going on? Jalen, JB1, what's going on? Jimmy James. And the Pioneer says, this is why Black folks need our own security force. Okay, we can get into that. And Curtis, so you're talking to somebody else. And you also say, Pioneer, we don't need more Black police officers. We need our own actual police force where we can see we can set our own policies and procedures on how to best protect our community. And Kimberly, how you doing? It says, why is it that every other week it seems like as if a rapper is being killed? And it really does seem that way. I should also say that it does not sound like they caught the person who actually did the shooting. There's a lot of speculation that it was their own people, security guards, whatever, but it doesn't sound like that is the case, because they are actually based out of Atlanta. So it sounds like they were coming to Houston, they being Quavo and Takeoff, to visit. So there's a lot going on. But anyway, I'm gonna get to the rest of you guys' questions. But Walter, what say you?
Yeah, I did. My boy was telling me about it. I had a couple people tell me about it. Since I was in the music industry, so he was just kind of asking me about it. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. You get comfortable in your surroundings, and you want to go back and hang around where you came from. Once you make it, this is gonna sound really crappy, but it is what it is. When you have something to lose, you need to move. That's it. You need to go. I mean, Ice Cube said it best. Having nice stuff in the hood is like inviting ants to a picnic. When you do better, you need to move. And so this happened. Happened to Nipsey. It happened to this guy. I mean, it's happened to a lot of people in music. I shouldn't say music in entertainment. I should say in our music, because I mean, you rarely hear somebody in rap, Bollywood, or Korean pop them hanging out playing dice or dominoes or whatever they were doing, and one of them gets murdered. It's us. So it's going to continue until we learn to say, hey, when we're doing better, we need to move. That's it. You need to leave ignorance with ignorance. And I know sometimes, because I've been around some of these guys, when I was in the music industry doing financial planning, I'd be around a lot of these celebrities, and sometimes they just get caught up in regular old folk stuff, but you don't know who's in the crowd. You don't know what everybody's doing. And, somebody act a fool that has nothing to lose, and you sitting there and, you get hit. So I just think you need to separate. I said, you start doing well, you leave and you help people from a higher spot. And, because this ain't going to stop. It's only going to get worse with recession and everything that's happening now. I mean, every time I turn on the news, it's this senator saying something about black people saying something about Jews. It's just madness. And with the recession and the economy, everything's slowing. It's about to get worse. And unfortunately, we as black people, we get it the worst.
Absolutely. So like I said, there's a lot of things going on. I have my opinions about it, and I'll hold off on that. I want to get you all's input on it. And of course, we'll have a discussion around it. Anything else you guys want to speak to? Of course, this is the money show, so we could try to keep it money. And Cosmo, you say black people are to blame. Two, we destroy our family just as much as white folks. We are programmed to destroy ourselves. Yeah, and I would definitely agree with you. We are programmed to doing that. We have been ever since we were brought over here. But the thing is, now we know that we need to figure out how to go about deprogramming ourselves, if you will, so that we can do better. Thunder, you say the Powerball is $1.2 billion. What would be the smart thing to do with the winning so it will last? And I want to tell you, I got me a few of those tickets, and I think it's tonight, right? It's playing. So,
Move, leave. Let me tell you something. I win the Powerbomb. All my phone, social media, everything goes dead. I grab my kids. We get on the private jet. We out. That's it. That's what you do.
and it sounds like it's about 500 something thousand is what you, I mean, 500 million or so is what you would get if you win. So it's still a lot of money, right? Absolutely. So, Pioneer, you say, of course, most of the violence in our community can be avoided, but you have to take the proper approach, not the white approach that don't even work too well for them. We need our own approach. I totally agree. I think we need to think of the approaches that are, well, I'm old enough, 51 years old, that our parents and maybe their parents used, like it was no nonsense, right? So we can get into all of that as well, but I agree with you. Cosmo, you say we're lost. And thank you, Donovan. If y'all could like and share, subscribe, I would love and appreciate you for that. Brother Todd, how you doing? Long time no see. You say nothing happens with God's permission, good or bad. It's his will, and there is always a bigger picture that we don't see. The Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. A generation comes and a generation goes. God has all the time in the world for us to get it together. We just don't. And I mean, yeah, I agree with you, from biblical principles, maybe it is out of our control, but I just fail to believe that God will want us to continue on with such madness, right? Because I hear what you're saying, but by that account, if it was God's will, then we just go out there and just, throw caution into the wind, right? If that was God's way, but, God also tells us to use wisdom, as Walter was saying, and I've heard that argument that when you have a certain amount of wealth and money and status that you should move and move differently. But I have my own thought processes about it. I'm going to give it in just a minute. But so I hear what you're saying, but I just think there's more to it than that. We still should try to avoid certain situations, I would imagine. Donovan, please. He said, sign my petition to get Demetra K from dropping all his knowledge. Good luck. And Kimberly says, that's why it seems so disturbing. It's always Black artists that seem to go out in a bad way. Not just rappers, but folks like Whitney, Richard, Michael, Sam Cooke, Prince, Otis Redding, etc. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of theories behind that. I don't know if you guys have seen The Two Killings of Sam Cooke on Netflix. An excellent documentary. I impress upon everybody to watch, but it does give you a different perspective of why he might not be here. Of course, they told the story about Sam Cooke that some jealous woman took him out, but it was always been speculated that it was something else. That's why they call it the two killings. The one that the media told you happened to him, and then the investigative reports of like, nah, not so fast. It wasn't some jealous, crazy woman. It was more to the story. So I agree with you. And Brother Samuel, how you doing? It says, if you win that, what are 5 things you should and should not do if you win, if it's not rigged? Well, I would say right off the top, the first thing you should do is settle yourself mentally after you get through screaming around and jumping around. Don't do anything too hasty. Maybe give it a couple of weeks, or if you can, months even, to just really let it all settle in. Obviously, cash the ticket in, right? And maybe consult, but consult with a financial advisor, somebody that's, you trust and all of that. And I wouldn't go too willy-nilly, because they say a lot of people who actually win the lotto end up broke. So figure out, be strategic about it. Don't just go spending the money, right? So there's a lot of things you should and you should not do, but I would definitely say get grounded, cash it, put it in a safe place, and speak to somebody who is able to have a conversation with you about retaining and growing the money. That's what I would say.
Well, when we come back to Jamaica for a second, I know sometimes we get caught up in fantasy shit. I mean, if you win the lottery, you got all kinds of stuff to do. But when we come back down to planet Earth for a second, and that's one thing we need to do more of, is get our feet grounded. I mean, it's like, damn. And as far as religion, it's like, when I hear people say that, I understand, people say God controls all things, but the Bible, Ecclesiastes 10:19 says money controls all things, not God. So maybe he does, but in the Bible it says money controls all things. Maybe you ought to get it together. But how much suffering do black people have to have? Like, damn, 400 years of slavery, the Democrats, Jim Crow, the civil rights, BLM. I mean, damn, how long do we have to suffer? I have read nowhere in the Bible or any religious book that my people are to suffer and for eternity. I mean, if you think about this for a second, right? I'm trying to think of a time where black people have not suffered in this country. Like have we had just um like a moment of just like peace as black people? I can't think of one other race that has gone through what we've gone through. And supposedly God is a black man. Africa, we were the first civilization. The original Jews and Semites were black. But so is it safe to say that we persecuted ourselves? All the other races are doing well and we ruined ourselves? That don't make no sense to me. I get very, very I get weird with sometimes when people bring that up, saying, God wants us to suffer. No, he don't. God don't want us to suffer. It's not true. It's 100% our fault. It ain't got nothing to do with God at this point. God is out of the picture. Period. God gave us strength as black people. We are the strongest people in the world, mentally and physically, and there's no one that would beg to differ. Period. And that's one of the reasons why black people are so feared. We're the strongest. I don't care what it is. You put black people into the room, they're the most creative, they're the strongest. It's because we were created first. We are the original people. No diss to other races. It's just, it is what it is. That's all there is to it. So I believe that we just need to believe more that we are better people. That's all. And get some weapons. That's it. Protect yourself, get some weapons, and lead with the money. Money talks. The wealthier you become, and I'm not wealthy, I'm not even rich. I have some money saved up, a couple properties, blah, 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 whatever. But as I do better financially, there's just certain things that I won't do. There's certain people I won't hang around. And I do things differently. That's it. Like today, I spent my day from 6:30 to 1:00 buying stocks in the open stock market. And I ask people, what are you doing today? There's things we could be doing as black people. And for whatever reason, we keep going back to the throat. We like pain. There's nothing else to it. Like this brother dying, it's like, come on, man. Brother, all this stuff, everything it takes to become a rapper, get on, go through contracts and promoters and managers and everything it takes to be a successful rapper, to then throw it away in a dice game. And I know he didn't throw it away, but when you put yourself in a position of death, you will inherit it. That's it. If I would take my ass to a Klan meeting and start walking around and saying, hey, cracker, everybody cracker, you know what I'm saying? I'm putting myself at risk. We have to be responsible for what happens to us. Got nothing to do with God at this point. Because you can't tell me that God is letting some of the most wicked people in the world rule by black people, while we suffer, and we're supposed to be God. That don't make no sense.
Absolutely. So yeah, we can have the conversation, about all of that. But at the end of the day, and hello to everybody that came on here. Again, and it's not not just Takeoff, but it's a lot of people. I think it was Halloween or the weekend before. 14 people in Chicago were shot. 3 of them were children, and some of them died. And so, I mean, we have an issue in our community. The conversation needs to be had. But let me get to some of these other comments before I give my commentary, because to me, I think a lot of people are making it a lot more difficult than it actually is. And let's see here. Where did I leave off? Dr. Chris, how you doing? It says Adam and Eve were created first. No one in the Bible was ever called black. Okay. And Cosmo says, as blacks, we make the best music. They steal it, control it. But our music is the icon of our destruction. Yeah. And again, they don't, and we're not saying this is true about that of Takeoff, but you're right. Our music is very destructive, but no one else predominantly in their genre of music talks about the things that are talked about to us, but that's all done by design. They sell us and have our artists, if you will, sing lyrics or rap lyrics that are horribly destructive to our community. Nothing good about them at all, right? For the most part, especially the stuff you hear on the radio all the time. And let's see here. Yes, and absolutely, Cosmo. We say, think about it. And Jalen says, Black people are not a monolith. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard and leave the knuckle. I'm sorry. And leave the knuckleheads behind. It is what it is. You can't say people who don't want to say themselves. And if I didn't already, how you doing? No, I agree with that as well. But I think there's a little bit more to it that we can try to do to try to save those people. And Emma, you said the love of money is the root of all evil. Yes, the love, because a lot of times people leave the word love off. And let's see, Cosmo says America's evil as F, yeah, to say the least. And Kimberly says Lil Kim lyrics, keys to life is money, power, and respect. Yes. And Pioneer says Kanye made the situation worse by saying that the real JEWS were Black, incorrect, plain and simple. Okay. And Emma, you say we have to stop killing one another. Says the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are Hebrew. Israel is Jacob. His sons are Israelites. Jews came from the tribe of Judah. However, all Israelites are not referred to as Jews because of Jesus. All right. And Todd, you said we need to get some weapons. Nope, not at all. Okay. Because I know that in the Nation of Islam, you all do not believe in, carrying and things like that. And so, James, my aunt, how are you doing?
Wait a minute. Let's address that real quick. So, in the Nation of Islam, which I was part of for a long, long time, I went to Temple 27 in LA. And maybe they weren't carrying weapons. One, because they probably weren't allowed to. I can't imagine, at the police and everything, they would just allow churches and temples to carry weapons. But they were huge on protection and defense. You walked into the temple, you got searched. I mean, you weren't getting up near the ministers or anyone without being searched. And I mean, they had protection. It wasn't in the form of weapons, but you couldn't get in there without being searched. And there was a form of protection. I say use protection and have weapons now for protection. I mean, as a whole, like Black people, we're never going to have anything until we protect ourselves. Period. Without money and weapons and protection, we're never going to be anything. We can build all the Black Wall Streets we want, but if they know we don't have any weapons and no way to protect ourselves, they're going to keep coming. Period. And the only reason Kanye is still standing is because he got money. Period. He's got money. And if you walk up into Kanye's house, I guarantee you're going to meet some steel. So those two things are important. And I know, from being in the Nation, I know how they felt about protection. I remember Michael Jackson. He walked around with the Nation for protection. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to protect ourselves, be it with weapons, security, something. Go ahead.
Absolutely. All right. So let's see here. What else do we got going? I'm sorry that I seem a little bit distracted. There's some real nonsense going on. You guys wouldn't believe if I told you. All right. So let's see. Where did I leave off? Oh my God. Okay, so James, and how you doing? He says, ultimately, it's about the God in you, or godly principles, or good principles one lives if you have any at all. I totally agree with you. Pioneer says, don't look to the Bible for historical accuracy. Yes, they talk about Israelites and Hebrews, but they don't give you the accurate history of them, but allegorical stories. So that I believe that they're allegories as well. Cosmo says, it's not just us. Brown race suffers, but they're a little bit better off than we are because they benefit from that of unity a little bit more than we do. And our brother Sammy says the law of attraction attracts the negativity or positivity we talk about into our lives. Yes, if you believe in the Bible, Proverbs 18-21 says life and death lies in the power of the tongue, so you should be careful what you say, right? So I do believe in the laws of attraction. And DSB, how you doing? Says, shalom, Demetra, my beautiful warrior sister, and back at you. Dr. Christian says, I meant to say are referred to as a Jews, but because of Jesus, okay? And Pioneer says the Nation of Islam doesn't believe in routinely carrying gats, but they can use them if you try to use one against them. Absolutely. So, but yeah, they don't make that a habit of doing it because, as they say, study history. You know what happens when, especially Black people, try to take up arms and, defend ourselves and things like that. And so, y'all know the story. And Cosmo says Aboriginal, African, and Mexican, all brown has been subjected to Eurocentric ideas. That I do believe. Brother Don, how you doing? Says, then we carrying them in Oakland. We're carrying them in Oakland. I think he meant then. Oh, absolutely. Of course, the Panthers were trying to do it up north, and y'all know what happened with that. Pioneer says one of the policies of the FOI is we don't carry gats, but if you come at one of us with one, we will take it from you and use it against you. Yes, it's defense, right? And Don says, hey, Demetra and Walter. And Cosmo says it's time for bold speech, action, and ideas, but most definitely action and ideas, because I think, honestly, we've all spoken quite enough. You know what I mean? And then Dr. Chris says, protect yourself from what or from who? Well, you know who that is, from the oppressor, and let's be honest, from ourselves too, right? And Kimberly says the mistake specifically Black Americans have made is not unifying to get our due. We operate off of individualism as a collective, absolutely, and we need to stop doing that. It's all right to be yourself, but we need each other too. And the Pioneer says, same with any weapon. If you come at me with that weapon, but the grace of God, I will take it from you and use it against you. So you said bye. Okay, got you. And you also say people need to understand what allegories are. Yes, they are stories really kind of meant to teach a lesson, a life lesson or something like that. Emma says a lot of our young people are dying over nonsense. And I'm going to give my opinion in just a second. And Dr. Chris says the Bible is fact, but you have to choose your axioms. Okay. Brother Todd says we can protect ourselves without weapons. No one carries weapons for protection in the nation, no matter who we secure. Our training physically, mentally, and spiritually is weapon enough. You don't see anyone coming up against the nation who has weapons.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How many people in the nation do you, how many people, and let's just get to it, because we need to cut through the shit. How many people do you see in the nation? First of all, when's the last time you saw a Muslim? Like, seriously. How many temples are left? Do you even see? Number one, in this spiritual, mental stuff is why Black people are being exterminated, because for whatever reason, we will not just take basic common sense. I promise you, and this was not, I can't really blame our ancestors because they were at peace on their own planet, on their own continent. But I guarantee you, if every single one of those Africans had a weapon of some sort, like, Black Panther's out, it's ironic to me that Black Panther is like, there's weaponry beyond belief. The whole movie's based on this weapon, this metal that, is superb. But I guarantee if all those Africans had weapons, this would be a different story. Period.
Right, but there's a reason to why they don't carry. So I mean,
this isn't about the nation. No, this is not. This conversation isn't about the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam, they don't have issues. You walk into a temple, they have security, right? The ministers, they go out, they have protection, they have security. So they don't have an issue with that. They have enough protection and security. This brother that got killed, Takeoff, if he would have had mad security, one, he probably wouldn't have been there, because they probably would have been like, hey, this is not safe. You don't need to be here. So he probably wouldn't have even been there.
And it sounds like that's not the first time somebody has expired under, I guess it's Jay Prince Jr.'s events. It sounds like somebody else also lost their life at something that he had too. So they're kind of under scrutiny as well. Kimberly says North Korea is respected because of its nuclear weapons, not because of how rich the country is and how large the army is. The nuclear weapons makes other nations respect the country. So yeah, I would definitely say that is true. But then the problem is everybody has nuclear weapons. And so now what if somebody is froggy enough to actually use one of them? Then somebody's got to use theirs, and then so on and so forth. And then we all walking around with an arm on our forehead.
Well, we'd all be dead. But Kim has a point. The United States is the most powerful nation in the world because of its military. 100%. That's it. You take away our military, and we have Indonesia backstroking over here trying to start something. I promise you, the United States is powerful because of our money and our weapons. That's it. That's all there is to it, folks. Nobody's crazy enough to mess with the United States. Period. So weapons is the move. Cash and weapons. You tell me all the stuff that the United States has been through, and considering the ancestors, the people that came over, like Columbus. I know he didn't come to the States, but he came to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? Or the Washingtons and those guys, the British, they came over here. Think about all the stuff the British and the Spanish, everything they did to the planet. Like where the Spanish and the British went disease, murder, kidnapping, rape. Like they don't have anything to do with mental toughness or spiritualness. It was all evil, murderers, rapists, but yet they are the strongest people in the world. Even the Netherlands has power. And you can walk across the Netherlands in 24 minutes. But they have power. I was in Netherlands. I've been to Brussels, Belgium. Now you go to Belgium and start some stuff, you got a problem. You ever think about why they meet in Brussels for some of these summits? You understand? That's where the money's at. The international court, the crime court, I can't remember the name of it, is in Amsterdam. I mean, think about it. They have money and power. And it was the Netherlands. They're the ones, when you look at the the trades and all that stuff back in the days, that was them. Money and weapons. And if you look at the transfer of wealth through Rome and some of these countries, it was, think about the Romans. What did they have when they showed up? Weapons, right? The Vikings, when Vikings roll up to you, what are you worried about? They got weapons. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you watch that movie with Tom Hanks and the little Africans came up to the boat and robbed them, they have weapons. So wouldn't it make sense just to have weapons? I don't understand why this is complicated.
Well, I get what you're saying, but I think again, we have to study history. Especially over here, it'd be different if we were somewhere like Africa, where we predominantly we are and things like that, and we have that ideology. Yes. But over here, we know that no group, especially a Black group in the United States of America, has ever been successful trying to raise some sort of a militia or, an army or something like that. And so it just has to make sense, right? Because you hear a lot of times people say, oh, we need to start a revolution. We need to get out there. And first of all, we outnumbered and we outgunned. It's just a fact.
I'm not saying revolution. I'm not talking about starting a revolution. That's
I know you're not, but I'm saying I hear people say that sometimes. It's like, I think we need to kind of really use some common sense here. You know what I mean?
I went to a bank in LA. The security guard got a weapon. It's a bank. I mean, so there's nothing with Black people having businesses and organizations. If you can carry a weapon illegally, legally you're allowed to have it. I mean, you go to some functions and events, they have weapons. I mean, so there's nothing wrong with having protection, just how you go about it. That's all there to it. Otherwise, we're doomed.
Brother Todd says, obviously you're out of touch with the actual facts pertaining to the Nation of Islam and its procedures. Anyway, you make a lot of great other points on the other topics. Well, still have more in common as a people than we don't. So peace and good, brother, keep enlightening us. Absolutely. So
yeah, my father's in the nation. Matter of fact,
I get what he is saying. Is a reason why they don't do that. It's very strategic. It's not because anybody's afraid or anything like that. It's like, why bring that attention onto yourself more than you need to, right? Because again, we know what happens when Black people take up arms, especially like that. We have a brother by the name of Grandmaster Jay who's looking at 30 years because the police in Kentucky, he had the coalition. This is the name of it, not my words, not fucking around coalition, where there's a whole bunch of brothers and sisters that are exercising their Second Amendment rights. They accuse him of aiming his weapon at a police officer or something like that, and they found him guilty. He's looking at 30 years, and if you look at the footage, he clearly wasn't aiming it at the officer, but they were just waiting for him to slip. Now the whole organization is defunct, and this man who is thinking like you, that got a whole bunch of people out there, and now he's looking at doing 30 damn years for something. But that's what they've done. We've got a lot of our people, the Black Panthers and everybody else you can think of, sitting in jail or prison doing long sentences for trumped up charges due to trying to take up arms. The Mulford Act in California, that came about because of the Black Panthers. Ronald Reagan, who was governor, was like, oh, hell no. When the Black Panther Party stormed up into the Capitol there in Sacramento, he was like, now we can't have all these Negroes running around. So they created the Mulford Act saying that California cannot be open and carry anymore. It has to be concealed and carry. So that's why, that's where he's getting at. It's not, so it's not like they're afraid, but it's like, we need to, there's other functions that the nation has to serve opposed to going out there and exercising brawn. We have to try to save our people. And as you're saying, mentally, spiritually, and other ways, there's ways to do that. So I just want to kind of give that a little bit more enlightenment.
No, I understand. I get it. And that's just white supremacy. We could have spoons or knives. You know, we could be playing with, we could be swinging croquet bats. It don't matter. White supremacy is white supremacy. And that is the problem. The problem is Black people, we need more power. Like if you look at what Kanye did, if you condone or not what he did, the brother has power and he has money. The brother is saved up. So when you have power, think about all the stuff. You can't turn on the TV, the internet without hearing. I hear Kanye's name on CNBC, CNN, MSNBC. Some of the whitest announcers in the world are talking about Kanye West. The only reason they're talking about this dude because he got money and power. That's it. So why not just do that? Black people, I don't care what we say until we get money and power, we ain't gonna be shit. They could shoot us down. Somebody could get choked out tonight on national television, and Black people can't do shit about it. And we won't do shit about it. Look what happened to George Floyd. He got choked on camera. And Black people, what the fuck have we done? Zero. We are in a worse situation before George. We are in a worse situation than we were. You know why? Because now they go, oh, we can kill this Negro. And everybody film it, telling us to stop. And the world just goes back to the way it was. It's insane to me. We keep saying you couldn't do that to a Jew. It couldn't be a Black cop killing a Jew. You know what the Jews have that Black people don't have? Is money, control, and the unity. That's it. Period. So until we get our money right, we ain't gonna be shit. And I don't care what you say about the Lord, Jesus, Allah, whoever is God has given us power to be the greatest. And for whatever reason, we fail to use it. Period. And I've been to the Nation of Islam. Believe me, I spent years at Temple 20.
Well, nobody's indicting you, brother. We're just giving a little bit more context.
No, what I'm saying is I understand how they think. You know, and they are protection based. They don't carry weapons, but you're not going to walk in the Nation of Islam and act a fool. I promise. You're not going to get next to the minister and act a fool. He is surrounded. He has protection. So maybe it's not in the form of a weapon, but it's in the form of 1,000 security guards. Louis Farrakhan was coming to my town. I guarantee you there would be FI all over the place. Or FOI, they would be everywhere.
But see, the thing is, they are protecting him by strategically. They don't need any weapons. And Farrakhan said it best. One of the best explanations I heard of it is, remember when Dylan Ruth went into church in South Carolina and took out 9 people as they were in church praying? Farrakhan said the problem is y'all allowed him to walk in that church with a backpack on, and y'all didn't say, hey, turn around, let's see what's in the backpack. And he said, then y'all allowed him to sit behind y'all as y'all was doing what y'all did. So he said, y'all turned your backs on him just because I guess he was a white boy and thought, oh, well, he's good. He ain't going to do nothing. He's all right. He says, but you would have never came into the nation and did none of that. We would have checked you. And first of all, what you doing up in here? He would have got, the 10th degree. But so basically, it's about being smart. You don't, even the members of the nation, they ain't just walking up in there. You're getting pat down. You're going to stomp your feet. You're going to turn around. You're going to do all that. We're going to check your bags to make sure you ain't on no funny stuff from the time you left up out of here. So it's about being smart. And if you move that way, you probably don't need weapons. And I think that's probably true for most things. And Gold Rosa, how you doing? You say big facts. And Kiana, what's going on with you? Say, hopefully I have money and power. And after I win this Powerball tonight, you and me both. And Cosmo says, we are the best at everything but evil. They know it. Oof. And Pioneer says, FOI, protect each other too. Absolutely. Everybody. And that's really what it's about, right? Truly being your brother and sister keeper. But I would say this in regards to the whole situation, not just with Takeoff, but with anybody in general. As I said, I heard a lot of people give their analysis, Monday morning quarterback ideas of what happened and what should take place. And I talk about this a lot, and I have lately. To me, it's simply as having a good command of your emotional intelligence. Because anytime, I don't care where you are, you can be, we've heard of people getting the business at church or places where you wouldn't expect violence to jump off. It's a simple, to me, it's ignorance. And when ignorance goes unchecked, you're going to have a problem wherever you go, whatever games you playing, whoever you're around. If you're not in control of your own emotional intelligence, it's going to go awry. And the other thing that we're lacking is coping skills. And so this has to start in the home. It has to start when our children come out of the womb. We have to start teaching them about emotional intelligence, which means you have a good command of your emotions. You don't let them get out of control. You are self-aware. You know how to put yourself in check. You know your triggers. You know what's going to set you off. You ask yourself, and I, tell people this all the time, before you go off or say something that's going to cost you something, or perhaps cause somebody to draw down, ask yourself, what is this going to cost me? What is it going to cost somebody else? Is it going to cost me a relationship, a job, money, my life, somebody else's life, if I act a certain way? And also ask yourself, well, what's the worst that could happen if I just say, you know what? I ain't going to trip. It's not a big deal. It's not going to hurt me if I just say you're right, or whatever the case is. And another thing is, Walter and I talk about a book that we've read a copious amount of times called The Four Agreements. What's the name? Miguel, what's his last name? Ruiz. Miguel Ruiz. It's called The Four Agreements. You can get it on online for like $5, $6, $7, $8. I think it went up a little bit. But in one of the chapters, it talks about don't take anything personally, because you can't control how somebody else feels. You can't control what comes out of their mouth. You can't control anything about anybody else. The only thing you can control is you and how you respond to whatever negativity it may be. But see, the problem is we take things personally. We inculcate things that people say, especially say, not do to us. That's a different story. We'll talk about that. But we inculcate it, which means we absorb the things that people say as, oh, no, they didn't. They said this about me, or what you're not going to do. Instead of just saying, that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I'm not going to let you, as they say, hijack my amygdala. The amygdala is the part of your brain that houses your emotions. So I'm not going to let you hijack my emotions. But think about how many times, even just in a day, we allow people to hijack our emotions. They say something to you, and you got to let them know how you feel, or you texting, going off on people. And that's what I was saying. This is going on now in some group chat that I'm in. People are losing their minds. And I'm like, these is grown women going back and forth over nonsense. And so imagine if people would just say, I don't have to respond to that. I mean, let me just go do something else. And so we're in control of that, but we need to start teaching that to our children. That way, when they go outside, they go to school or whatever, or they may end up as an adult in a dice game, and for whatever reason it goes awry, they can say, I don't know, I don't like losing all this money, but you know what? I knew the job was dangerous before I came in here. I know that if I gamble, it's a 50-50 chance I'm going to lose, right? That's coping skills, but that's also knowing what you're dealing with. And so until we start teaching that to our children and to ourselves, because there's a lot of adults who have no knowledge of emotional intelligence. They don't know. They just think it's normal to just be snapping and clapping and all this. You don't tell me. They think that's normal to behave that way. But if you as a parent behave willy-nilly and you have no control, what you think your children are watching? As my dad always say, your children are a sponge and they are absorbing you. They're absorbing the things you say. They're absorbing the things you do. So if you a mama and you can't control your mouth and or you a daddy, you want to get violent every time you don't get your way, then what do you think your children are going to do? I swear for God, I have two boyfriends, not at the same time, but two boyfriends on separate occasions. Every time I was in the car with them, and it could be a little bit of traffic or something, they, oh man, oh gosh, they just going nuts. And I'm like, it's traffic. You think that this traffic jam is personally toward you? You don't think this has anything to do with the 20 other thousand people that's on this freeway stuck in traffic? And I said, furthermore, the person that cut you off, that you cussing out, that ain't got nothing, they don't hear that, I hear that. So you have to ask yourself, why am I getting mad? It's traffic. It's not personal. It's not like whoever had an accident 2 miles up the road says, I know this person is going to be coming, so I'm going to get in the accident just to piss them off. So it takes us to be logical in our thinking. I'm stuck in traffic. Is this about me? Is this traffic jam because of me? No, it's probably not. So I'm gonna calm down, but turn on something nice on the radio, or I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do, but I'm not gonna let that affect me. And so I know that I've gone on and on about it, but I think if we teach emotional intelligence and logic instead of emotion, a lot of the ills in our community will be fixed. That's like right now, if I sit up and call Walter, you egghead sucker, that might make him mad. It might be true. I'm just playing. It might make him mad, but it's up to him to decide how he's going to respond to me. Is he going to engage in argument with me? Or is he going to say, she's probably having a bad day. I ain't going to take that personally. She got an egghead too.
I'm glad you bring that up, because sometimes we get mad over the stupidest stuff. You know what happens is, when you start building yourself up, physically, financially, mentally, less things bother you. That's it. People say stuff to you like, you know what? I understand. I was there once, so I'm going to let that go. I've had people say stuff to me. I'm like, okay, they don't really understand. And I'm not going down to that level. So I'm going to let it go. And in order to criticize somebody, you have to see it in yourself. So that's the way I leave that. But I'm telling you, people all over the world, Black people, people of color, whatever you want to call us, until we start with the cash, it ain't gonna matter. I keep going back to Kanye West. Let's talk, forget Kanye. Let's talk about religion for a second. Who is the most powerful religion in the world?
Who is the
Catholics?
Oh.
I mean, okay, I know there's a lot of Baptist churches, but I'm talking about the Catholics. The Roman Catholic Church is untouchable. Untouchable. You know why? Because they stacked. The Vatican City, which I haven't seen, but I've only heard about it from friends of mine that have gone, they say you can't even imagine the city, the wealth. They just, like, if you travel through Europe and most of the world, for that matter, you see these big churches. That was cash. That was money. It just shows you that money moves the planet. Right? Two boyfriends. Well, it is what it is. Right. So what I always tell people is start with the foundation. Foundation is, until you start saving money, I guess I tell you, even if you start taking 1% of your income and you save it, every time you get paid, put some money away, your self-esteem will rise. Because what happens is, little things that bother you don't anymore. Because I'll give you an example. Right now I'm cashing out one of my business, so I'm selling everything. I'm out. I'm getting out of here. And I was liquidating, and I'm trying to buy some other things. And I was like, man, I need to come up with a little more money. And then I forgot, oh shit, I got my E-Trade account. There's a bunch of money sitting over there. I totally forgot about, but it was just out of my mind, because every day I try and put money, or every week I try and put money in my E-Trade account, and I just move it. As soon as I get money, I move it, and I move a little bit away. So what that does is it eases me to go, oh yeah, there's money sitting over there. I'm gonna chill, right? So we start, I promise you guys, I was talking to my boy Eddie. Me and him and iHeartRadio were getting together for As the Money Talks. So I spent the whole day with him yesterday. We were at iHeartRadio at one of the stations, and he goes, "What's your first show?" I said, "I'm gonna call it Land and a Land Rover." So I'm gonna call it, right? Because if you have a piece of land, I don't care what your state is, what is going to you. If you own a piece of property, you could take an RV or whatever it is, you can park on that land and you could live. It wouldn't be the best condition, but you could live. Number one. Number two, the reason I say land in a Land Rover, because he was like, "Yo, what would you tell the everyday person to do if they wanted to build money?" I said, what I would do first is I would build my credit. First and foremost, if I had $1,000 to my name, what I would do is I'd make sure my credit score, I would be pushing it as hard as I can. Getting credit cards in my name, having people put me, aunts, uncles, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, in these case, 2 boyfriends, put me on their credit report, put me on their credit card so I can adapt their history. If grandmama has an 800 FICO score and 6 credit cards she can put me on, and she's had them 20 years. If she puts me on those cards and she keeps them, so because I got bad credit, she ain't trying to give me those, but she holds on to them, but I'm just on the account, I inherit all of her credit history. I've seen scores jump 100 points from just doing that. So if you're at a 610 and your score jumps to a 710, you got the power. You do what you want. If you're at a 580 and you jump to a 680, you can make moves. So what I said is I would build my credit first. Like, that was it. Building my credit would be the first thing. And here's what I would do with my credit. I tell people, and this is my show, Land in a Land Rover, it's because I did it. I went to Navy Federal. I tell people this all the time. You have good credit, you can make moves. So I said, okay, what am I going to do if I want to get some more money in my pocket? So I went to my bank. I said, here's a VIN number for a car that I don't even own, but I want it. And they asked for the VIN. They checked my credit. They said, okay, we're going to cut you a check. So they cut me a check. I bought the car and I kept the difference, and I bought a piece of land. Actually, I bought a raggedy house, but it was land regardless. It was a raggedy house on it. So the bank's like, we'll give you $60,000. The Range Rover was only $30,000. There's $30,000. I used that to buy land, which I then sold to put into another property. The point I'm making is I did that with no money, all credit. So wouldn't it make sense to build your credit and borrow money and get into it that way? That's how rich people do. That's how JP Morgan, Chase, that's how they all do it. They use leverage. Donald Trump, they borrow a crap ton of money at 4 or 5%, and they invest it, and they make 30, 40 on it, and they keep doing that until they have millions of dollars. Anyone can do that. I don't care how poor you are. In 6 to 12 months, you can build your credit, and you can go do what I just said, and you could stack. But for whatever reason, it's not important enough to people.
Absolutely. And Micah, I hope I said that name, your name right. You say, we don't care about that. Talk about Ye. He says, okay, we're about to leave. Well, let me say this. So this is the money show. So maybe you're new here. This is the money show. So we talk about that. But really talk about Ye. This is interesting. Walter used to be his financial advisor when he first started out. So Walter can tell you how to get closer to having some money like Ye, if that interests you at all. But we could talk about Ye, Kanye, all we want.
We could talk about Ye. Ye, he took my advice. I met Ye through the wire. It was a buzz clip. I met him. Matter of fact, I got a phone call. It's a true story, and no diss to Kanye. I was in Miami with Little John. It was a bunch of us at the Roney Palace. I remember we were walking. It was me, Little John. We were walking to the Roney Palace in Miami Beach. That's been Zeno's spot. Called Zeno's. It's gone now. Him and Dave Mays on this club. And my boy goes, I want you to work with Kanye, this rapper. I was like, okay, is she cute? It was just a joke, but I didn't even know who Kanye was. And so I finally met Kanye. We talked on the phone a bunch of times. The dude is just out of this world brilliant. And I go, dude, listen, if you follow me, you'll be straight. He did everything I said. And the first thing I did with Kanye West is we built his credit. He got a check. I think Britney Spears, he redid Toxic. I mean, Kanye did everything from Madonna. He wrote, man, Kanye was getting checks from everybody. We took one or two of those checks, we walked into a bank, deposited it, and they gave us a line of credit. And I took that bank statement and I showed it to Amex, everybody, and they gave us a line of credit based on that bank statement. And the bank gave us a line of credit against the money in their own bank. So from that one deposit, we went out and got a bunch of credit. And that's how we built, and that's how I got him to black, from Amex black, because we built it and we put everything. So when he was doing his album and traveling and all that stuff, because Def Jam wasn't trying to pay him, wasn't trying to put his album out like that. Kanye had to do a lot of this stuff himself. So we used his credit to build his foundation. That's it. Credit. 100%. And from there, Kanye's a smart dude. He would have made it anyway. But man, we built Kanye's credit. And if you talk to him and you ask him about me and what did Walter do to you, is the first thing he'll tell you. I won't give you the bank name, but he built my credit. And that's actually how I got Kanye, because he was like, I want a black card. I was like, I'll get you one. And I got him one. And that was it. All credit. And from there, Kanye's genius just took over. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And so I hope that helps. And let's see here. Thandi says, have you noticed all the building taking place in Houston, especially in the poor black neighborhoods? Can we benefit from this? I have seen it the times that I have been in the neighborhoods. I see a lot of vacant buildings. And I'm like, wow, why are these buildings just vacant? Now, I don't know if somebody already owns them, but a lot of houses are dilapidated on, a lot of land, if you will. So as I drive through the neighborhoods, I'm like, it's a matter of time before this neighborhood ain't even black no more until it's gentrified. So we should be thinking about that, at least thinking about getting some of those properties, rehabbing them and renting them out. But the problem is, I think, too, a lot of people nowadays, they want the brand new houses. They get them when they're very expensive. And then they try to rent them out. It's like, well, you bought it. First of all, when the interest rates are high, maybe the house prices of housing are still high. So now you got to get a $2,500, $3,000 rent in Houston to even make the mortgage or make a little bit of a profit. And so if you get a house, rehab it, or Walter can tell you about that, maybe refinance it, get some money out, fix it up, rent it out at a reasonable price, because people still need reasonable rent. And for one, you'll have a real estate rental property, investment property, and then somebody will have a place to live. But eventually, white people, Asians, everybody else can go into those neighborhoods, take them over, because you're starting to see a lot of the nice, pretty, shiny buildings right in the middle of the neighborhood. And like, well, that looks odd there next to these super old houses. But the line of thought is, well, eventually they're going to get rid of these houses. Maybe they'll try to buy them out. I don't know how much the city would have it to do with it. Maybe they'll eminent domain it and they'll whitewash the whole neighborhood eventually. So yes, Thunder, I do notice. And Arniva, how you doing? It says, I read that already, but it says, master money, and you have mastered the God of this world, which will give you power and respect. And then Thunder says, can anyone get an account at Navy Federal? If you're in the military, you can get one, or somebody who has an account, they can give you a code, and then you can sign up that way. So if you know somebody with a Navy Federal account, ask them, hey, if they can sponsor you by giving you a code, and then you can sign up and get an account that way. You trying to say something, Walter?
I'll do it for a small amount. I've sent my Navy Federal password to a bunch of people. And the crazy part is, I was telling my boy, because we were talking about race and all that. I said, I have a lot of my white friends that watch the show. I got a call from my white homeboys, Joey, at like 11:30 at night. Him and his pops, like, yo, we watch you and your sister's show, and you said something about this, and we're doing it. It's saving our property. My boy Steady B, Sean, a white dude, he don't know he white, but he white on the outside. He's like, yo, I watched you and your sister's shit. That was the bomb, what you said. I'm like, all these white folks watching the Black Power movement. I'm like, it would be really cool if I can get phone calls from my black people at 10, 11 o'clock at night about what to move, what to do. No hemming and hawing, no praising, no sweet chariot. Just, hey, I was watching your show. I know it's late, but I'm calling you with money moves. What do we do next? That's it. It's not even complicated. I guarantee you, everybody on this podcast started putting money away. I don't care. It don't matter what it is. Start with $1 a day. $1 a day is $30 a month. It ain't much. You know what I'm saying? But if you do that, and then one day, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 3. Then you wake up at 6 in the morning and you go, oh shit, I'm gonna put $100 in my E-Trade account, and I'm gonna go like Facebook, Meta right now. Meta is at 90, almost $90. Facebook, $91. Amazon is at 90, under $100. Like, these companies are at their 2015 stock prices. Like, that's what me and my boys are talking about. Period. That's it. Like, Migos got killed. I mean, I was smoking a cigar and kicking with my boy Eddie, and he told me about it. We were watching the Houston game. Houston get their ass whooped, but whatever. And he told me about it. But that was after hours, after we were done dealing with the money. The point I'm making, you guys, if you put your energy on that stuff, first of all, some of this other stuff we get caught up in, we won't have time to deal with it. Because Takeoff is dead. He's dead. And what can we do about it? Somebody else is going to do it too. It's going to happen again next week. And then, like, we can stop it. Every time somebody died, brother gets shot, killed. You know, like Nipsey got killed. I was with Nipsey at Jay-Z's Christmas party in LA. And you turn around, the brother's dead. And he was trying to help the hood in Crenshaw, visible to everybody, trying to help the hood, and got smoked. You know, and I see people talking about Nipsey, my barber, they all Asians and Mexican dudes. They got Nipsey all over the wall. And Nipsey, the whole wall is Nipsey. And I was like, where was Nipsey when he was alive and grinding? Where was all y'all, where were all you people at? Like, when he was out there, you know, getting his hustle on and building the Black community, where was everybody at? He's dead, and now y'all coming out? You know what I'm saying? We need more people like Nipsey. And Nipsey, he was a thug rapper. Rap niggas is my favorite cut. I like what he was saying. I'm not in love with the words. I just like that he was saying, I own my masters. I have my own stuff. And I had drinks with Nipsey, and he was one of the most calmest dudes on the planet. He had his money straight. He wasn't fighting with his label over his masters. He had his stuff. He was collecting checks. You know what I'm saying? So money is power. That's it. We can't stop these brothers from hanging out and getting murdered. They're doing it to themselves. And Black people, it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves first.
And let me also say this. I want to throw this in the mix as well. And hello to everybody that came on here. Thank y'all so much for being here. We do have ways to help the channel there at the bottom of the screen. At the very least, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I saw somebody on Twitter make this point, and it was a Black man. He says, you know, and y'all tell me what you think of this. He says, I bet, and I'm paraphrasing, I get tired of people saying Black man this, Black man that, Black men need to do this, and, you know, Black men need to do better. He says, but if you think about the Black men, you know, the notable Black men that died or whatever the case is, hold on a second. Michael, why don't you come over to YouTube? Facebook is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So maybe it's just you on there. I don't know. But if you come over to YouTube, but don't worry about how many people are watching. Just pay attention. And don't feel sorry for us. We're doing just fine. But anyway, so he says the people that were killed, like in Nipsey's and a guy that was in Waffle, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, PNB Rock or whatever it was, Takeoff and a whole host of other people. It says Young Dolph was buying cookies. Takeoff was just sitting there at a game. Nipsey was helping somebody in the neighborhood, and so on and so forth. You know, so it's like they were doing things that regular people were doing. So people came into their world with the nonsense, if you will. And so what is it really? I mean, because, yeah, we know the lyrics in rap are horrible, but in those situations, they weren't doing, they were just doing regular people stuff. And so it's like, can they really control every outside factor that's, you know, that's outside of them? We're like, well, how much control do they really have over another person and their lack of emotional intelligence. Honestly, and I think, like I said, I think people are simplifying it and making it too. Oh, well, it's the lyrics. If they wasn't rapping like that, then they wouldn't. Because listen, I don't care. I agree. You should be careful what you put into the universe, but you rapping about certain things does not give anyone the right to take your life. So again, in a lot of those situations, those people were just minding their business. They're doing the things you and I would do on a regular basis. And so it's the other people. A lot of that was covetousness, if you will, trying to take what they got, stealing their chains. XXX Tentacion, I think that's how you say his name. He was robbed coming out of something, because these guys were just really doing their thing. And so I don't know. I think we really need to delve off into people controlling their emotions. Like Micah, he's on here. I'm gonna put this comment up so y'all can see him. And I want y'all to know this doesn't bother me, but this is what I'm talking about. And ordinarily, I don't really like to highlight this stuff, but it just kind of plays in to what I'm saying. So this is the first time I've seen him on here. He's saying, "Girl, you're a hood rat." Spell "you're" wrong, but that's fine. I charge it to his lack of intelligence. Girl, you're a hood rat. But yet, this is what I'm talking about, emotional intelligence, because he cannot get his way and force his ideology on a chat that was already in full swing before he got here. He wants to go to his lower mind, and he's allowed me, somebody he's never met, to hijack his amygdala. And so now he's on here calling people names because he has no sense of emotional intelligence.
Okay, yeah, let's move on.
Let me finish.
Yeah, to cut the nigga shit out. I mean,
right. Let me finish. Emotionally, he is failing emotionally. Now, take this a step further, okay? Because this is an educational moment, and I thank you, Micah, for allowing me to use you as an educational tool. Okay, so he's mad on a social media. For whatever reason, he's mad. Now, let's say somebody with his ideology is out on the streets and he can't get his way with somebody. What else will he do? Because he doesn't have the capacity to control his emotions. So it just worked beautifully. Thank you, God, that he's given us some illustration here, because in a lot of cases, like the people I just mentioned, they were going about their everyday life, minding their everyday business. And then you have people like him that has such low EQ in emotional quotient that they would exact something trauma onto another person because they can't get their way. So this is a great example of that. And Micah, I don't know you. I don't hold anything against you, but I would impress upon you to go to Google or YouTube and figure out what emotional intelligence is. And you should get a hold of that before that gets away from you. I'm not mad at you, but there's no reason for you to be calling people names. It's ridiculous and it's counterproductive. You talking about Ye is the one, and I somewhat believe you in that. But I mean, you want us to hear what you're saying, but now you done went to the lower hanging fruit. So I don't know. Y'all tell me.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's come on, you guys. This is, it's funny, but this is black TV. This is where we get down. Lord forbid we have a conversation about empowerment and money and stay there. It's but for those of you that want to watch the black race fail, your time is coming. I can tell you, I woke up this morning with one of the biggest headaches. I was thinking about all the shit that's going on in the world, all the racism and all the stuff going on right now. It's just nuts. Like from the senators talking about the reparation and the crooks and, all the stuff that's going on. I'm like, man, this world is, North Korea is launching missiles today. People in South Korea just watching like, oh my God, what do we do? The whole world is crumbling. But you know what's moving right now through all this chaos is the money. If you go watch Grant Cardone and Ed Milet and oh my God, who are these brothers? Bigger Pockets. You watch some of these people, they're all talking about moving the money. In Houston, the black communities, right? So the properties are just sitting there. You guys, those white people, the Asians, they're not stealing the properties. They're either being left by black people or they're being sold by black people. I bought a property in Texas from a family member that was sitting there for years empty. And we talked, me and his mom, she rest in peace, was my homegirl, and we cut them a check. for a property that was getting ready to get snatched up by the city. But it was about to get nothing. Me and my son Miles, we paid for lawyers, travels, went to Home Depot, got me Gente, you know what I'm saying? And we fixed this place up and we cut them a check. You understand what I'm saying? And then, so that house was black owned. We kept it black owned. So the white man offered us 140 for something we paid 40 for, and we was like, okay, you have it. I would like to keep this neighborhood black, but for 100 grand, I'll turn another neighborhood black, and which is what we did. I took that money and I moved into the whitest neighborhood in Texas on the water. It wasn't my intention; it was just a deal. So we can reverse gentrify. You know what I'm saying? Because when I moved up into that neighborhood in Texas, I had a few, they still look at me funny. My sister looked at me funny for being around people that look at me funny. Right? I remember I took one of my clients, Erica, over there. She was like, please get me out of here. But with money, you can make moves. So in Houston, you have all those properties. There's nothing stopping us from buying them. I always ask people, send me the address. Where are these properties at? We'll go make an offer on them, make a bid. Hey, man, I see that this property's been sitting there 20 years. Would you take this much money? Or would you sell me the property and carry the paper? I can pay you over time until I can get a bank loan. There's multiple ways to get the properties. And you guys, best time to buy real estate is right now. Best time ever. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates 75 basis points again. That's 0.75% again. And they're going to raise again in December. And they're going to keep raising until inflation starts ticking down closer to 2%. The real estate market was going up and it just stopped. And now you know what you hear on TV? Oh, shoot, the real estate market's crashing. Oh, my God, we can't sell. House been on the market 3 months. That is a beautiful thing for somebody trying to buy. Because a house that was $400,000 in January is now $350,000. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the interest rate's higher, so it's going to cost you more monthly. But if you hold on to that property, and let's say a year, the interest rates start going down, you can just refinance into a lower interest rate. So you bought the property at a lower price, and you can refinance into a lower interest rate, and you have that same property for a lower payment. That's what they're talking about on the internet, folks. That's what they're all talking about. Bigger Pockets and Grant Cardone and all these cats. There's, Earn Your Leisure, the brothers on there, 19 Keys, all those guys, man, this is the stuff they're doing right now. Him 500, if you follow him on Instagram, smart brother, Marcus Barney, talking about what to do with credit and how to build wealth with credit. It's all out there. When we start doing that, a lot of our problems will go away. I love chaos in the real estate market. When everything was going up, I was like, man, I'm gonna wait. These idiots. House of 700, you're gonna pay 800 for it? Come on, man. That $800,000 house is 650 right now. That person tossed away 150. How long does it take you to save 150? This is the best time. But what's gonna happen though, black people, is we're gonna get caught up in all this news and media, people getting shot and murdered, people calling each other hood rats, and we're gonna miss it. Amazon, Facebook is trading under $100 for the first time in years. In almost a decade, Facebook and Amazon is under $100 a share. And for $100, you could buy 300 stock options on Facebook. So when Facebook goes up, you can hold on steady and collect that revenue. Remember Snapchat? A couple of weeks ago, they missed, some of y'all won't, but you can Google it. Snapchat missed earnings and their stock price went boom. And I bought stock options the day before they announced thinking Snapchat was going to hit their target. So I paid $1 for a stock option and they got murdered. My dollar went to like 18 cents. I was sad. But it was only $100. So 100 was $18. But the next day I bought 5 contracts, 500 options at 18 cents. Right now, I think that option is trading at 71 cents. But I only got that because I was watching CNBC and I was watching. It's funny, if you watch CNBC, there's a lot of black people on there. Bloomberg, a lot of black people on Bloomberg TV. A lot of them. Like CNBC, man, I'm like, Ma, there's a lot of black people on CNBC. So we can't use that excuse anymore. Bloomberg, they full of sisters, brothers and sisters on Bloomberg. Bloomberg's got this brother been on there since the beginning of time. I don't ever hear anybody talking about that dude. So get the money right. Build your credit at all costs. I don't care what it takes. Build your credit. And if you got an enemy with a credit card, hey man, I know we having beef, but can you put me on your credit card so I can raise my score? Or are you having a beef with somebody financially? There's things you could do together. That understand.
And I think that's, and hello to everybody that came on here, Bait Racks, Al. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really the thing is figure out how to work together. And, you know, there are some in our community that do, but there's a lot more of us that really need to learn how to work together. As someone said not too long ago, that we participate in individualism. I was actually having this conversation with my daughter not too long ago. And I said that other races of people, let's take the man and the woman, yeah, they might have their issues with each other. But at the end of the day, they like, listen, we need to squash it because we got things to do, right? We want to buy real estate. We got families to build. So we got a lot of things to do. We need to accomplish. And, you know, the things that we are going through as people individually is not as important as the things that we need to do together. And so we in our community, unfortunately, and Dr. Claude Anderson talks about this a lot, we do suffer from individualism and that, you know, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to live by myself. I was actually having this conversation with somebody earlier about how other races, and we talk about this a lot, they know how to live all together in one house, be 4 bedrooms and 15 people, 15 people in the house. And it's not because they want to be so close with each other. They're doing it for a reason. They're trying to build. It's easier to build and save when there's more of you together sharing the load than it is for one of you to have a whole house to yourself and all the bills and all of that. You have somebody to share that with you, whether it's a husband or wife or roommate or whatever. You can both move toward the goal of being financially secure in yourself and then building stuff. Because I think that's what it's all about. Like, have something. It's okay if you want to rent or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people rent. They're like, I don't want the headache. But, you know, there's so much more that we could do together. Whether maybe you don't want to be a business owner, but you know somebody who does. And so say, hey, I got a couple of bucks here. I want to, you know, get in on your business. I'll be a silent investor or whatever. But let's get the grocery store in our neighborhood built. Let's buy a couple of houses in the neighborhood that are vacant or up for sale or foreclosing, because we know who's going to come in here and who's going to buy this property. And then when they do that, they're going to call it the Mayonnaise Heights or something. And then the rent is going to go up. And the people who live in this neighborhood, their rents are going to go up and they're not going to be able to afford it. So let's, for one, get some businesses in this, some houses, some rental houses, and let's protect the people who live here as well so that they don't have to look at moving out, because when we move out of those neighborhoods, then we don't have a neighborhood anymore, right? And we're starting to see a lot of that go away. I'm from California, been in Houston for 2 years, and California doesn't have a lot of Black neighborhoods anymore. There's a few, but not really, you know, a lot like there used to be. But here in the South, there's a lot of them. But as Thunder, as you said, as we drive through some of these neighborhoods in Houston, you can see the gentrification taking place. And it's like, it's really a matter of time before it is called something Worthington Heights or something like that, opposed to the neighborhood Acres Home or whatever it is. So we need to think about moving as a unit. Stop being so selfish and evil and cantankerous, and just say, how do we work together? Let's put it all, the nonsense behind us, and let's build. And so who else came on here? Craig, how you doing? It's great to see you as well. And Thunder says the group over self. Yeah, they call it utilitarianism. And Thunder, I know you know that term. What's the greater good? Let's do it for the greater good. So when we think about utilitarianism, we think about what's for the greater good of our people. The greater good is for us to be self-sufficient and to have our own things. Well, how do we do that? We start doing for self. We stop spending so much of our money with everybody else. And we stop being so hateful. But more than anything, we learn how to love ourselves and figure out a way to get along, right? We have to learn how to get along before we could do any of that stuff. And, you know, also stop I think negativity has a lot to do with a lot of things in our community. We absorb and we flock to the negativity instead of saying, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. The negativity. That's not going to help us move the ball forward. So we need to figure out how to do that. And world views, how are you doing? And LP says, be careful in Houston. Yeah. And James, he says, Ubuntu. Tell me what that is. I don't know everything. Yeah, I don't really go out much in Houston. If I'm driving through the neighborhoods, it's because maybe I'm going somewhere or something like that. And I might take the streets opposed to the highways. And so I'll see certain things and I'm like, I just shake my head because I'm like, it's a matter of time before those folks move in those neighborhoods and they don't belong to us anymore. And we can see it unfolding every day. Anytime you see a brand new apartment building put smack dab in the middle of the hood, you know they ain't gonna live like that for long with those houses like that. They're like, yep, we'll put a big giant high rise here today, and then we'll wait in order to acquire the other properties around them. And pretty soon they got bike ways, bike lanes, and poodle runs, and a whole lot of other stuff, lattes, Starbucks, and all the other stuff, and it's gone. Then where do we go? Where do we go if we don't preserve our stuff? Like, honestly, yes, if y'all can hit the like button, I would love and appreciate you. Black America, how you doing? It says, how do you do for self if you are starting with less than what it takes to get started? That's a good question. But as my mom used to always say, start where you are with what you have. It doesn't have to be $1 million. Start with where you are. See what you have. Say, okay, I have this. I don't know. It can be a dollar amount. And if you're already stretched thin, maybe you have to have a conversation with yourself and say, do I need to pick up another hustle, another job to bring in a little bit more income? But first, you got to ask yourself, well, what is it that I want to do? You know, if you want to do for self, figure out how to do that. How do I become self-sufficient? And a lot of terms, that's really becoming financially free, debt-free. So start with doing that. Figure out how do you become debt-free. See, a lot of times, especially in this day and age, we're used to getting things so quick. But back in the day, and I'm 51, I'm not scared to tell y'all how old I am. People would say, okay, I've amassed all this debt. I have a job. Maybe I need to go pick up a night gig somewhere 4 hours a day or every other day so I can earn a little bit of money. And then that money you earn from that job, you pay those debts off, become financially free. Then you can start saving some money because you're not spending money on paying credit cards or whatever debt you have. And then once you start saving a good amount of money, you can say, okay, I got $5,000 here. What can I do with this? Now, I'm not telling you to do this because I don't have any license or anything. Maybe you want to delve in the stock market. You want to take, a moderate risk or something. Maybe $5,000 is enough for you to put a down payment on a property or something. I don't know. But doing for self means that you become debt-free and you are less dependent on something outside of yourself as possible. Hello, Brother Jonelle. And Brother Don says, I hate LA traffic. Yeah, wherever you go, there is traffic. I don't care what time of day it is. Kimberly says, when you see a Starbucks in the hood, you know what's coming. Absolutely. Or a Whole Foods or, anything like that. Even a grocery store, right? You know what's coming. And so we can do our best to avoid it. And as y'all hear all the time and time again, stop selling your grandmama house. Stop selling your mama house. Stop selling the properties that your people work so hard for. I tell you all the time, both of my grandmother, and my hands are red because I was cutting beets. I wasn't bleeding. Both of my grandmothers were domestics where they worked for white people. And they were both able to, help save to buy a house. They were able to do that. But they also, did things in order to save. I know back then they didn't have a lot of restaurants, but our grandmothers, they wasn't really eating out like that. They was like, shoot, I cook at home. McDonald's, I can make you a hamburger at home. So the point that I'm making is we need to figure out ways to be able to save money. And like you said, when a Starbucks comes into the neighborhood, you know what else is coming. And Black America says, I work 15 hours a day. There's no way I'm getting a second job. So yeah, in that case, you're already stretched. But then in some cases, you might have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm stretching, I'm not saying this is your situation, but for some people who are working a lot of hours and they are maxed out and they have a lot of debt, you might have to say, what can I let go of? What can I start paying off first? What corners can I cut? And again, I'm not saying it's about your situation specifically because I don't know, but I know as when I was a financial advisor, life insurance, I would have a conversation with people in order to sell people life insurance. I couldn't just go in there and say, "Oh, I think you need $100,000." I couldn't say that without looking at their financial situation. I had to do a budget analysis and things like that with them to say, okay, this is what you really can spend on life insurance. And so a lot of times it just takes us taking a snapshot of where we are financially, what are we bringing in. I see the difference thing too is there's a difference between your income and your cash flow. So income is the money you make every month or every week. The cash flow is also the money that's flowing in. So a lot of times, let's say you have a savings of, I don't know, $10,000, but maybe you don't have a cash flow every month. And so what happens to your savings? You start chipping away at your savings. So your cash flow or your spending has to be justified by the money that you have coming in. And so figure out what you can cut. I don't know, maybe you have cable. Maybe you have some streaming services. Maybe there's other things you really don't need, and you say, I could do without that long enough to save. So see where you can, sometimes you can call your car company, see if they can give you a better interest rate. I don't know if you have a mortgage, see if that's possible. I know interest rates are kind of high now, so I don't know how good that would do. But just see where you can figure out ways of saving money. I don't know. Maybe you need to take a roommate. I don't know your situation. I'm just saying in general, if this is anybody, maybe you need to take a roommate, move a family member in that can help you share the load. I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. And let's see here. And then Babe Rax, you say, Black America, you start a small business yet, though. Yeah, you can start a small business. It could be right out of your home. It doesn't need to be a brick and mortar type of thing. It could be maybe you sell stuff out of the house. I don't know, anything but start where you are with what you have. I tell you guys about how I got started doing YouTube. That was my mom's ideology. Start where you are, what you have. I had a funky old Droid, no shade to the Droid users, but I had a Droid phone. And I propped it up on a stand one day and I went on Facebook Live and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. So I did it every Sunday. That's how I ended up doing Sundays at 5 p.m. Central Time because I just started doing it, just started having conversations with people. Then I moved to YouTube and all of that. And so that's how I got started. But I got started with just a phone. That was it. I didn't make excuses. Not saying that you are. Oh, I need to have the state of the art. I need to have the studio. I need to have all the lights and the cameras on. I was like, yep, my mom's right. Start where you are. Figure out something to talk about and go from there. So that's what I'm saying. Whatever it is you want to do, you want to start a business, maybe you need to start it in the house, start small, start with one product and go from there. And let's see here. Gerard, how you doing? And let's see here. Thunder says, do you know gentrification has officially hit your neighborhood? When you see the white woman jogging with the ponytail and the Pomeranian, okay, you ain't lying. Gerard says we have to start our own businesses to close the wealth gap. Yep, that'll help. We do need reparations, though. You also say we can buy from our own if we don't have Black businesses to buy from. Yeah, absolutely. Or, buy as much as you can in the South. There's really not an excuse not to. There's a lot more Black businesses in the South than there is in places like California. Babe Rax, you say wealth gap. These devils had a 400-year head start. Stop wanting what they have, period. We will never catch up. Stop it. No, we won't. That's why they need to give us our money via reparation. And there's things that we can do. We give nearly $1 trillion a year away to everybody else. No other community does that. We do that. We give nearly $1 trillion away to everybody else. And every time, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do, right?
Yeah. And that's the point right there. You made a good point. It's us, white people, Jews, Hispanics. We can't keep bringing them up in the conversation when it comes to our wealth. Okay, like we know reparations isn't coming anytime soon. It's not coming. Sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Reparations are not coming. This president, this administration, first of all, they're about to be replaced next Tuesday. So they got other problems to deal with, right? I guarantee you, reparations are not on the menu. Because now what they got to do is they got to lean toward the right to try and get some of those. They got their hands full. Reparations are not coming anytime soon. So unless we're in a position to put together a bill or do something and go knock on Joe's door, why don't we stop talking about it and talk about what we can do? Everybody, I don't care where you are, you can start building your credit tomorrow. It ain't gonna be right away. You can start doing that. You know how you build a wealth? Credit is the fastest way to build wealth. It's the fastest. I don't care how broke you are right now. You could be broke as you could be brokeman.com. That I don't care. That could be you. You could in 6 to 12 months build your credit and go out and borrow money, which is what banks do from us, and go out and invest. That's all you need to do. If you have good credit, let's say you got 2 cars, right? Let's say I got 2 cars, right? And they're paid off or whatever. What I would say if I want to get money is I would sell both of those and I would go out and do what I told you to do earlier. Find a car that you're willing to drive, right? And get a nice car. Get you a car that, like for instance, my Range Rover, my payment is $700 per month on the Range Rover, but Turo rents out for $200 a day. So normally on the weekends it's rented out. I rarely drive the Rover on the weekends because it's rented out. But Turo, they're paying for my Range Rover. Does that make sense? And so then Turo makes the payment, and then the other money that I got left over, because they were like, the car is worth 50,000, whoop-de-whoop, but banks will give you 125% of a car's value when you go to borrow against it. That's why when you buy a car and you're upside down in your car loan, they will still take your car because they can give you 125% of the car's value. So why would you do that when you could just go to a credit union? This is why it's good to have an account with one and say, hey, here's this car. It's $30,000. It's I don't know, whatever you want to drive, Mercedes, whatever car you want to be in. I want to borrow as much as I can against this car. Then you take that difference and you invest it. That's it. What would you do with an extra $10,000, $15,000, $20,000? Some of y'all got good credit and won't do it, and it blows me away. It blows me away. It's so easy. Build your credit. When I fill out a credit application, they don't ask for my race. Not yet. But there's a lot of shit going on in Supreme Court and some of these things. Like, things are changing. Maybe they'll ask for our race in the future, but right now they don't. Right? So you can build your credit. And that's the fastest way to build a wealth gap, is by credit. That's it. If you watch him 500, he's built wealth and he's controlling millions of assets. And he used his credit to borrow those things. This phone, let's say, is $1,000. It wasn't, but let's say it was. But my bank is going to give me $2,000 to buy the phone. I spend $1,000 buy the phone. I put the $1,000 somewhere else in another business. Where I go out, you know what I'm saying, and I buy something else, and then I sell that or whatever it is. That's how you get wealth right now. No Powerball. Like, come on, y'all. First of all, if you won the Powerball, okay, so you won in, I don't know, 100 million. But we can create our own Powerball. Think about this. All the lottery is a bunch of people pitching in. It's what, 1.2 billion? That means $1.2 billion were collected, donated, given away to the charity of the lottery charity, right? It was donated to charity. That's all the lottery is. Everybody puts in money. It's worse than a susu. Then you win 1.2 billion, but they only give you $500 million. What do they do with the other $700 million? Those are all donations to the government. If you guys understand how the lottery really works, maybe some of you guys could do this for you. The lottery, let's say you win the lottery. I can't believe I'm even talking about this, but whatever. If you win the lottery, they will give you 5% interest. Take the lump sum and pay you over 20 years. They're just giving you 5% interest, and they never give up the money. That's how the lottery works. But you can do that with investments. That's how annuities work. You give an insurance company an annuity, money in an annuity, and they just pay you out over it. And when you die, they keep the difference. But until you die, they flip that money 1 million times. So you could do that. And those of you that live in Houston or these neighborhoods, and you driving through and you see these Black-owned properties that are being gentrified, and if you're not stopping and knocking on the door, that's your fault. Because it ain't got nothing to do. Think about this. And, I'm just going to use your term, the white girl with the ponytail walking the dog. It's funny you say that because I see that. In West LA, you see him, the white girl with the ponytail with the poodle. In what was the blackest neighborhood in LA? South Central. Me and my Uncle Wallace, I was like, Uncle, there's a lot of white people in your neighborhood. He goes, they ain't, something to the effect, they not scared. They ain't afraid of us. It's money. So if they'll walk into our neighborhood and buy up everything, like what's stopping us from doing it? You know what I'm saying, Grandma? Hey man, I know your grandma passed and you guys been sitting in this house that's falling apart, but what if I pitch in and help you rejuvenate it and we sell it and split the money? Or we refinance it and we buy another block, a house on the block. You guys, you can do that right now. Wouldn't that be more fun going out looking for properties versus waiting on the news to see who else gets murdered? Like tomorrow it'll be somebody else. And I do want to say this about our music. You know, and I was listening to one of Farrakhan's agents, not brother Nahid. He's on YouTube, big dude on YouTube. And he goes, it's our music. Like black people, we need to be responsible. It's our music. That's it. Our young kids, you see them with their pants down, they talk to each other foul. I was in Las Vegas, and this brother, all things, walked by with this sister. Beautiful couple. She had a big booty. You know, it was large. Everybody saw it. And he's walking with his sister girl and about 20 brothers, pants hanging, kids, just young thugs. All of them turned around and was like, damn, your girl got a fat ass. And homeboy just kind of looked, and we all looked. And I was with this dude that I follow on YouTube, William Roundtree, who you should follow, by the way. The brother got his stuff together. He's a money man on YouTube, Mr. Roundtree. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. I was like, niggas. And he was just like, and we were embarrassed because we're sitting there playing roulette at Caesar's Palace, all these different races, all these people, everything is cool. Then all the young black kids show up and fuck up the environment and disrespect his brother and sister that were there enjoying themselves. She wasn't wearing nothing skimpy. She just had a big old booty. You know what I'm saying? But damn, like to disrespect her like that, that's music. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Or tooted and booted, it ain't no fun. Like that's our fault. We make that music and we keep putting it out. Right? And I know the Jews put it out, I get it. But like we making it. You know, like damn. I listen to the radio. I beat the pussy up. I'm like, damn, that's like the first thing out of this. The first thing, I don't know who sings that song. You guys probably do. First thing. I'm like, wow.
I know who sings it, but I ain't gonna say. Can you answer this question?
What should we DC? Yes. Hell yeah. Dollar cost average is for these times. So right now, like I started investing heavy in the market a few weeks ago. Because in the market, when we had that crash or that correction a few weeks ago, I said, okay, I'm going to start putting every day, every week, I'm going to start putting $100 a day or $300 a day. Today, I put $500 in the market. And I'm going to add every day. And every day, I'm going to buy something. Because what happens is the stocks, they go up and down. So if you buy here and they go down and you keep buying every day, that's what dollar cost averaging is. You average the purchases. And then if you own a bunch at the bottom and then when the prices come up, and then you have all those shares that you bought cheap at a discount. So when they rise, you've bought more shares. And dollar cost averaging is one of the most powerful weapons in the financial services. It's the bomb. JP Morgan was $103 when I told all you guys to buy. Not buy because I can't give you advice, but I told you what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? And JP Morgan was 103. Stock option, I bought one, I think in March 140 or something like that. It was 85 cents. You know, today it is $4. 85 cents is $4. So, and that was, they didn't say, hey, what color are you? E-Trade was like, yo, we'll take your money. We'll let you invest. That's what we need to focus on, dollar cost averaging. Just put a little money away. So that's what I'm saying. Like, send us the address to Detroit. Send us the address. I'll go check it out. My sister will tell you, I'm quick to hop on a plane and go check out a house. 4 houses for $25K? Come on. What's the problem? Send me the address. Put it in the chat. We'll go check it out. I love Shopify. Verbalherb.com. If you go there right now, Shopify is my backbone. Shopify allows you for $29 to have your own business online. And, between GoDaddy is $10 for a domain. Shopify is $29 a month. Printify, or there's so many companies, Alibaba, Amazon, where you can, do you realize you can open an Amazon account and sell Tide detergent? And you could buy Tide detergent from a wholesaler, get a resale license, buy detergent or whatever, and put it on Amazon. That's it. These soda streams, like, I got Amazon packages here. I get Amazon, they come to my house every day, it seemed like. But like, I don't know what's in this box. I mean, I can't tell you. I could open it and see. It ain't my box, but it came to my house. So
you better hope it ain't a rose or something crazy up in there.
No, I mean, it's got a name on somebody that occasionally lives in this house. But I don't know, what is it? Let me see. Oh, it's something for the image. I don't know what that is. Right? That's daisies. But I guarantee you, whoever sold this bought it for a lower price. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know what's in this package. It's got my name on it, so I'm assuming it belongs to me. But whatever this is, and I don't do drugs, so it ain't that. Oh, I bought this scanner from one of my cars. It was, I don't know, $29. I guarantee you on Alibaba, this is $10. I promise you. So you can start a Shopify account today for $29 a month and sell something on it. True story. My assistant that lives with me, I found this fake Louis bag, giant Louis bag, in a car I bought. It was like a huge bag. And I was walking into the trash. And I was like, boy, are you losing your mind? Somebody want this. She put it on Depop. Somebody paid $350 for it. I told her, we'll split this money. She put it on Depop and got $350 for something that I was going to take to the trash. On Depop. I don't know what Depop is, but she does. Couldn't tell you what Depop is, but I guess it's like the eBay for young people. That's it. So you could sell cigars. This cigar in Arizona was $10. I was in Vegas at a cigar shop. It was $29. I didn't buy one, but how is it $10 in Arizona and $29 in Vegas? And it was $10 retail in Arizona. They probably paid $3 for the cigar that Vegas is selling for 10 times as much. That's why you walk into Caesar's Palace and it's gold, glitter, and marble. So keeping the spread. So where do you see Shopify stock price going in 3 years? I have no idea. I can't tell you. Shopify was up here. Carvana was $300. It's $14. Like, come on now. Shopify was $3, $4. I don't know where Shopify is now. But what I'm doing is, instead of buying Shopify stock, the only reason I don't own Shopify stock options because I don't follow it. But what I am doing is I'm making money with Shopify. Like, if you go to Verbal Herb, which is Black owned, by the way, that's my company, you can buy a shirt right now on my Shopify, and Printify will send you that shirt. $29. I got a bunch of them. You understand what I'm saying? So I started that site with just a few bucks, a Shopify, and some images. And the funny part is, all we did is took our logos and we photoshopped them onto models online and put them on our Shopify account. I don't know. I know the models on the front page, but I don't know the other models that are wearing our shirts. We got them from Photostock and put our shirts, our slogans. Thou that gives a shirt off his back shall be naked, knows a complete sentence, whatever. All of our sayings are there. We did that. So yeah, Shopify is a move. And you can do that from your house. You understand what I'm saying? So I recommend people starting something, because if you have your own business, you don't have time for all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know who the Migos are. up until I've heard the Migos, but I couldn't. If the Migos popped on TV, I couldn't tell you what they looked like.
You would know what they look like.
I mean, but here's the point: I can't name one Migos songs. I know Offset is in the Migos only because he's married to Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason I know who he is. I'm not dissing the Migos. I'm just saying I don't know who the Migos are. You know, somebody was like, "Do you know who YG is?" I was like, "No, I don't."
You
But I
don't?
know I know who JP Morgan is. I know how much Meta's selling for. You understand what I'm saying?
Now I know who YG is.
I mean, I've heard the name, but the point I'm making is that's why I don't really watch sports either. It's like, how can you be so consumed into sports to where you catch, like tonight, I think the Houston game is on, and you know, tomorrow night the football game, and then Sunday morning and Sunday evening, and then Monday night, and then baseball and basketball. Like, how do you build wealth when you know every sports team? You know what I'm saying? D Block. I heard of D Block. I used to watch Cell Block H. Wasn't that an old show?
Your mama used to watch that Cell Block, something on Cell Block 8, the women of Cell Block H or something.
Yeah, she sure did, man. My mom was watching that crazy shit. So, but I mean, I don't know why I sound like I'm on the block, but I get it. I just there's so much power and knowledge out there for us, but we have to pull the trigger and go get it. You guys, if you don't do anything else I say, build your credit. Build your credit. Go to self.com. Open an account at Navy Federal. You can put $100 in the account. Capital One will give you a credit card, pretty much unless you screwed up an account with them. First Premier is a crappy credit card, but they will give you credit. You know, some of these small credit cards. Synchrony Bank is actually really liberal. Venmo, Best Buy, their Care Credit. They're managed by Symphony Bank. The Symphony Bank is pretty liberal. They go off of, they do soft pulls a lot of the times when they run your credit. So they'll go off some of the LexisNexis and some of the other credit reporting agencies that aren't the big three to see if you're creditworthy.
I will say this though, a Synchronicity credit. If you have a car with them, do them right, because Synchronicity Bank, they have a lot of credit cards to a lot of stores and a whole host of other things. So be careful. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah, Amazon. My Amazon card is Synchrony Bank. My Venmo card is Synchrony Bank. No, is Venmo Synchrony? I know my Best Buy card.
I think it is.
It's Symphony Bank.
PayPal.
PayPal, Symphony Bank. I have all those credits, all those accounts.
All your little stores like your Forever 21s, Old Navy's, those type of things they are. So content creator says before the split, Shopify stock this year was $1,800 a share due to the market having economic challenges. The stock is around $33 a share. Could be a LTP, maybe. Wow, that's quite a dip. And Joel, how you doing? You say the best stock to invest in right now is oil and gas, especially how soon there is going to run out of diesel. Okay, yeah, that's always a good one to be in. So I agree with you on that one. And Kiana says, let's go to Washington. Let's go Washington Commanders. This is our year. We're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, they changed the Washington Redskins to the Commanders. See, that's how out of touch I am completely. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and that's fantasy, Kiana. No offense, but like next time Washington go to the Super Bowl, it'll be George Washington.
Damn.
But the crazy part is one thing I've done is I surround myself with people that are doing better than I am. Like when I'm listening to Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, even the cat, him 500, the brother, William Roundtree from YouTube, phenomenal brother. He'd be dropping whiteboard knowledge, keeping it playing for you. I try and surround myself with people that are doing better, because that way it forces you. Like when I go see my boy my boy Paul lives in Arizona. He's in this $3 million crib. It's 10,000 square feet. I'll pull up to his house and I was like, damn, I'm the brokest man in the world. Yeah, I felt, and I'm like, man, I love coming. And he's like, man, let me show you how to get it. do this, do this. Every time I see him, he's kicking knowledge and like, here's what I did to get it. So I love being around people that are doing better. So I get suited up, I make sure I look good, and I show up and I hang out in their presence. One of the reasons I started smoking cigars, because one of my boys smokes cigars. He's like, hey man, meet me at the cigar lounge and we could chop it up. So I'm smoking with him at the Havana Room in Beverly Hills, and it's me, him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone sitting right there, like across from us. He goes, you ain't gonna never see Arnold unless you up in here. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was like my height. I was like, I grabbed him by the shoulders. I was like, Arnold. He started laughing. I was like, I bet you kick my ass though.
Yes, indeed. Black America says they already ran out of diesel. I couldn't load it up this morning. So do you deliver diesel? That is interesting. Yeah, it's going to get really interesting. As we say here a lot in Thunder, he is good at reminding us and a couple other people on here to stock up. You know, as they say, winter is coming. Stock up because, it's said that it's going to be lean times. And even if you got the money, in some cases, you won't be able to buy anything because, things. I was at Walmart today and the lady was like, they're out of some type of chicken or something. I said, wow, really? And she says, yeah. That they haven't gotten a lot of things in. And so you're starting to see it manifest. And we've already seen it though, right? And King Kunta, how are you doing? Says, so true. I'm an assistant manager at Burger King. And if you're not a team manager, at least we cannot hang. So you're saying you want to be with people who are doing better than you. And yeah, that's absolutely the way to go. No shade to anybody underneath you as far as job wise, but the premise is, yeah, get around people who are doing better than you, who are more knowledgeable than you, right? I love the idea. I don't really like to hang around people who, what I consider low hanging fruit. Not that they're bad people, but just the conversation is always a woe is me, or this is going on, that problem, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, we've already had that conversation. I probably already told you my best shot on how to solve your issue. At some point in time, you start talking to people like that. They don't want to solve their issues. They hold on to the woe is me mentality. Oh, everything is so horrible. It's like, I don't live there, right? I don't live in that space of everything is horrible. So after a while, I just stop answering the phone or I ignore you completely. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. Kiana says, aren't the Migos known for mumble rap? Yeah, so they are classified, I guess, if you will, as mumble rap. And thank you, LB. If y'all could give a thumbs up, I love it. Appreciate you. Kimberly says, yes, you can get hyped, hemmed up with Synchronicity Bank. Yeah, if you don't, if you ruin that relationship with them, it could ruin a whole lot of other relationships because they are connected to a lot of credit cards and stores. Best Buy is one of them. God forbid you need a credit card there because you need to move or something and you messed up your relationship with Synchronicity Bank. They'll say, yeah, you were declined. And Black America says, I've been delivering fuel for 5 years. So you definitely have your finger on the pulse of what is going on there. And so you were issuing us a warning from the ground floor, if you will. And so,
well, and you guys, and here's the other thing too. And I want to change the narrative, you guys. I'm going to keep changing. You could get, and I know Black people, we come, and I know it was taught to us to come from a position of fear. You go to Black church, it's fear. If you don't do this, you don't do that. The school system, if you don't do this, you don't do this. Oh, you got a red check mark, right? You get, like, we have fear. It's like I was watching a baseball game with my boy Eddie, and the dude came up to bat who had a 220 batting average. That means 2 out of 10 swings, he hits the ball, gets on base. 8 out of 10 times, this dude strikes out, doesn't get on base. He takes a loss, so to speak. He gets 2 out of 10 right. In the school system, if you get 2 out of 10 right, you are a loser, failure, dunce. They calling your mama and grandma. In the real world, if you try 2 out of 10 things and you get 2 right, you're doing well. If you try 10 businesses and one of them makes you a millionaire, you're successful, right? We need to focus on that. And the reason I bring that up is because Synchrony Bank, you can get hemmed up, or you could build credit. There's nothing wrong with Synchrony Bank. Synchrony Bank, let me tell you, they have given credit to all kinds of people that could not get it. They do a soft pull, which means they're not on your Experian, your TRW, whatever you want to call it. Maybe they are now, I don't know. But when I ran mine, they did a soft pull. They gave me a care credit, Best Buy, like PayPal, Amazon card. All those cards are on my Synchrony account. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell you guys, build your credit. Don't be scared. That's it. So people say, I don't deal with JP Morgan. Well, JP Morgan Chase, okay, I got it. They're not the greatest bank. They're not. None of them are. JP Morgan's job is to get your money, pay you no interest, and to loan it back to you at 12%. I have this thing I call Do It Like Diamond, like Jamie Dimon. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Jamie Dimon pulls money from you, and then he reinvests it at a higher percentage. That's it. I buy this. I don't know what this is. Cerati image. I put it on my credit card at 10% interest, but I turn around and I buy this for $10 and I pay 10% interest, which means I owe them $1 at the end of the year. So I'm in this 11, but I sell it for 20. I get to keep 9. And how much money was mine? 0. You guys, once you understand credit, there's just, as long as you protect your credit, you can always make moves. I don't care what it is. If I borrow money to buy this candle, it ain't my money. It belongs to somebody else who has money sitting in a bank account and is being loaned to me by Synchrony or by Venmo or whoever it is. Like, did you guys know Venmo had a credit card? They do a soft pull. He give you 5, 10 grand. Just like that. I was sending somebody Venmo and they were like, hey, do you want to apply for credit? I was like, absolutely. And they sent me a $10,000 credit card. No, I'm lying. They sent me a $5,000 credit card. Then I asked them for an increase. They gave me 75. And because of my history, they bumped it up to 10. And so now I'm like, I'm carrying their interest on Venmo credit. Venmo's doing a lot. Man, shit. Venmo's helping a brother out. So use leverage. Think about it. You buy a house, you have a mortgage. What is that? It's funny. Some people will buy a house and a car on credit, but won't start a business, won't go out and buy something and flip it. Man, I told my boy last night, because he had a Mercedes on his screensaver, black Mercedes. I go, how much is that car? He goes, oh, I think it's like 15 or something like that. I said, I can get it for 8, but the bank will give us 20. I said, the question is, my brother, what do you, well, okay, I want 2. So what are you doing with the extra 10? What are you going to do with the 10,000? He's like, I go, that's my point. Let's focus on that move. And if black people all over the world, and I'm just talking to black people right now, if we got together and we just did it, it ain't going to be easy, but we could do it. First of all, we wouldn't be out as much because we'd be working on ourselves. And as a man, brothers, I'm going to talk to you for a second. I know because we spend as men in general chasing women, right? Chasing the booty. And it's expensive. But once I started focusing on my own stuff, I found it like, you know what? Chasing women, a lot of that stuff disappeared. Because you'd be sitting at home at night going, okay, you know what? I could go out, go to the bar, pick up this chick, chase some booty. Or I could work on my credit tonight. True story. I'm just going to be transparent. I'm going to wait for Asia to leave because she's underage. Actually, you know what? She's 21. Close your ears anyway. So I'm talking to my boy, and we were having a real man-to-man conversation. And he was talking about this girl across. My boy lives in his house, and he got the pool and the mailbox. And anyways, he's in a dangerous spot. And all these women were walking by, hey, waving hi. I said, man, I couldn't live right here, let me tell you. But I go, the horrible thing about sex that's not with your wife or girlfriend or spouse or the one that you love? I go, when you're having sex, keep it real with somebody, and I'm not saying to cheat, I'm just saying, when you're in having that, you're doing that act, isn't there something about you that thinks like this is gonna be over soon? I mean, some of y'all it's over much sooner, but this is gonna be over.
And some of us be like, damn, I could have had a V8.
But as soon as it's over, it's like, damn, I'm back to where I was. I spent $400 on this and this and all this stuff. And I'm talking about for a woman that is not your woman. You know what I'm saying? And the whole night getting dressed and all this. And the minute it's over, I'm like, damn, that was dumb. Damn, I gotta go. Damn, that we could have had, instead of the tomahawk, we could have had chicken. You know what I'm saying? So you can skip all that and just focus on the money and get you a woman or a man or a partner that is focused on the goals. That is more powerful when you're sitting at home, you and your spouse, lover, whatever it is, the person that you connect with, and you're sitting there going over goals and dreams. There's nothing more powerful than that. My boy last night goes, you know what? My next woman, she don't have to be super fine. I can just get me an average chick, long as she about her business. I said, my brother, there's some bad chicks out there about their business. But you know why you don't see them? Because they're at home about their business. That's why you don't see them. I said, man, let's go to Whole Foods. Because they're getting off work right now. I'll take you over there. I'll help you find one. Whole Foods. Women too. Where do you find you a good man? You know what I'm saying? Okay, they out there. But they, like, I go to the grocery stores and I see a lot of black men shopping at the grocery store. I'm like, what's up, my brother? And normally he with a white girl. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I see a lot of brothers in the grocery store. Or when I'm out. I mean, a lot of brothers. And I always wave to my brothers. And I'm like, sisters, they go one right there. But the problem is he getting into a Honda Accord, and sisters, most sisters are, not most sisters, but a lot of people, he getting into a Honda Accord. I'm gonna answer your question, Kimmy. I have this Prius, you good? I have this Prius I'm driving, right? I'm selling it. And I'm rolling this Prius, and I just waved to this girl. I ain't trying to holler at her. I'm just, hey, how you doing, sister? Do you know she looked at me and she looked down and went like this. I said, see? She don't know I got a Range Rover S5. I got a couple houses. You know what I'm saying? I got candles everywhere. She don't know I got 200 bottles over there. She saw me in the Prius. You know what I'm saying? She could have got the baby oil. But instead, she gets the pass. The point I'm making is she judged me. And I thought that was whack. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good brothers out there. But they're taking care of business. So they don't look flossy from the outside. There's nothing sexier to me than somebody that is working on their future. How you doing, girl? Oh, tonight, you know what? I'm buying Facebook and Amazon. Facebook and Amazon is under $100 a share. You guys, seriously, that is like a sale. F those Louis Vuitton, forget the red bottoms. Facebook, you can buy stock options tomorrow morning for $1, for 50 cents, for 30 cents. You can go way down the strike price. So Facebook is 94. You can buy a call option for 140, a 150, a 160, a $200 call option for under $1. Do you understand what I'm saying? Snapchat is at $10 right now. $10 is floating right there. But Snapchat, I bought the $12 options at Snapchat at 18 cents. They're at 71 cents right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, dude, 18 cents to 71 cents. $1,800 is $7,100. We could all pitch in and be like, I was going to say get together and kill Barney. We can all get together and get money. I had too many kids. I hated that purple dinosaur. I wanted to choke his ass out every time he came over. I was like, Barney, shut the hell up. You and Baby Pop. But you can go out and do that. So tomorrow morning, like here's what you do. Futures on Bloomberg, if you watch Bloomberg, late at night, they'll show the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ futures, along with Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that. So you can see which way the market is going. So then you can say, okay, like, and then you can go to your computer at midnight or whatever, depending on where you are, California time, and you can put in Facebook and it will give you the pre-trading stock price. So you can see if it's going to be up or if it's going to be down. And then you could buy, as soon as the market opens at 6:30, boom, you can buy those stock options. Yesterday I bought Amazon. Amazon went boom. I bought stock options and then Amazon went up. So those stock options doubled in price, just like that. So, but it takes work. So CNBC, Bloomberg, and there's not a tall white dude in a hood saying, "Oh my God, no Negroes allowed." Ain't none of that happening. The only reason Black people aren't building wealth at this point is because we won't build it. That's it. When we start building it, and we say we don't care what politics, like next week is election. I hear more Black people talking about this election. We're going to get this. And no, you ain't. You ain't going to get shit. But what you been getting? Abortion, this, that, whatever the right is, ain't not going to change for you. And it's funny, and I ain't gonna get stuck on abortion because I ain't trying to get murdered or people showing up, killing me, protesting in front of my house. I ain't gonna get involved in that. But I heard Kanye say there are more Black people killed by abortion than born in New York. And nobody said nothing. No one said a word. No one. You want to kill Black people? Put an abortion clinic in their neighborhood. You don't have to shoot them. Just put an abortion clinic in the neighborhood.
No, we definitely don't. We don't want to do that.
Here's the point I'm making. Be it abortion, be it whatever the subject is.
I'm just saying for, algorithm purposes, we don't want to do that.
No. I understand what you're saying. There's so many distractions that we have. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting at Paris. They have this restaurant, Monogamy. It's a nice restaurant across from Bellagio. And they had this march of all these women, steel workers, union workers, all women. And they're protesting in front of the Paris hotel. You eat, there's a cafe, you sit outside and you eat. And I said, you know what? That ain't cool. This is a business. And all these people are working here, these waiters and all these people sitting up for eating. And these protesters are screaming, "We want rights, we want rights." And I said to one of the people, "You got a job, don't you?" I said, "What is the problem? You got a day off. It's Saturday. You marching, talking about you want women, you want rights. You have the job. You got the money. Like, what else do you want? Like, and why you pick it in this hotel? These people are out here eating. They spending their hard-earned money. They want to eat. Y'all out here protesting, screaming in front of the restaurant. But I don't see you taking that shit down. Like, go to Amazon or go somewhere where it's important. You know what I'm saying? Most of us have the rights and the means to do stuff. We just look for a distraction and not do it.
Absolutely. So anyway, we are going to get out of here. I'm burning up, sweating. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all for being here. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and whoever else might be on here watching. Thank y'all so much. We will be back. Actually, Donovan and I are going to come back here live on Friday because, midterms coming up. So we kind of want to talk to y'all live about things that are going on in regards to politics. So I'm not quite sure. I think it'll probably be, I don't know, maybe 12 o'clock Central Time. I'm not for sure, but nevertheless, we'll be on here live. And then, of course, we'll be back here Sunday and then watch for my videos on this channel, African Diaspora News channel. You guys will check all that out. We're going to get out of here. I'm starting. And
E-Trade.
What did you say?
Question. E-Trade. I was asking him.
Oh, E-Trade. That's up.
E-Trade. You can open it. They don't ask you for a bunch of money. You get streaming quotes. There's so much information. You have Bloomberg Television comes free with E-Trade, so you can watch Bloomberg TV for free with an E-Trade account. Holla. It's all there, people. So next week we talk. I want whoever shows up in the chat to tell me what Meta, what Amazon, Carnival, Uber stock options are fairly reasonable. I want to know next week who bought those stock options, the call options, and if we can talk about it. And if you in a position, a neighborhood, and you see old homes beaten down, abandoned, please hit one of us up. We'll come and check it out. Matter of fact, there's an airport across the street from the crib. We'll leave right now.
Absolutely. So you guys be good. See y'all later. Stay cool, warm, wherever you are in the country. But most definitely do something nice for yourself. We'll see y'all later on Friday, Donovan and I. Maybe I'll bring another person on just so we can have a more of a well-rounded conversation. We'll see. So see y'all later. Love you. Peace.